This con-
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Nahara. My name is Janet Borland. For those who do not know me, I am the Association Director for the National Native American HR Association. And for those who are with us the first time, Nahara is a tribal led nonprofit organization that focuses on the HR profession and tribal leadership. And I'm happy to say we are on our 28th year of existing, and we're continuing to advance and advocate for Native American tribes. Today's session, I am super excited that we have RADW with us today. And today we're going to be talking about compensation. A competitive and fair compensation plan is a critical plan for recruiting and retaining top talent. In REW's presentation today, they will go into the latest market trends shaping compensation strategies and showcase powerful compensation tools, comparing and contrasting their key features. Today's comprehensive session will equip you with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate the challenges and landscape of compensation in 2024. In today's presentation, we have Taryn and Rachel. Sharon joined RDW's HR consulting team in 2022 after gaining experience in HR positions in employee recruitment and onboarding HRIS systems and employee relations within the tribal government in Oklahoma. For the outsourced human resources client, Taryn is responsible for investigating and responding to client issues and concerns, and for coaching client managers and employees on the broad range of employee relations issues to include unemployment claims, hearing, analysis of time card audits, turnover, and progressive discipline. For compensation clients, Taryn performs and interviews and assists with writing job descriptions. She is based in their Oklahoma office. Taryn holds a BS degree from Oklahoma University with an emphasis of management and HR. She is a certified THRP, yay, and Rachel is the compensation consultant. Rachel joined RADW's compensation consulting team in 2022, where she provides extensive compensation planning services to both tribal and non tribal clients to include job analysis, job evaluation, and employee specific pay equity, salary compression calculations. She is a member of the Society of SHRM. She's a certified SHRM SCP, and she as well is a tribal human resources professional. Today's session will be recorded and it's going to be on Friday's Nahara YouTube channel. So if you want to catch and revisit the presentation today, it'll be on our YouTube channel. And please make sure you turn off your camera. Utilize your chat box, please, to ask any questions and share any experiences or comments you'd like to share with the group. Once again, very thankful for RADW. You know, we can't get enough about compensation. It's something really important that we really need to talk about and share experiences, share our struggles and our successes. So, with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Taryn and Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet. Awesome. Well, you did the introductions for us, so that was really great.
Yeah, that
Thank
was better than
you.
I had planned, so I appreciate it.
Way more thorough than we had planned. So awesome. Awesome.
My pleasure.
All right. Okay, Rachel, you want to go to our first slide? We'll just jump right in. This is exciting. We're very excited to be on here with you guys today and talk a little bit more about compensation. So, I'm going to cover why compensation matters. We're going to talk about trends in Indian country that we're seeing tribes facing as we look at 2024. And then we'll go into some tools, which Rachel will be sharing as our compensation expert. So, why does compensation matter? It doesn't really matter which part of HR you work in, whether it's recruiting or um, benefits. compensation matters in all realms of HR. So competitive compensation packages are essential for attracting top talent in today's competitive job market. A competitive compensation package can make your organization stand out and entice. Is someone, I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
Karen, do you
someone
mind
has,
muting? I'm sorry.
yeah. I'll see if someone has their microphone on.
Okay, sorry, there's an echo for me, so I'm not sure.
How's that?
Okay, all right. Okay, let's jump right back in. A competitive compensation package can make your organization stand out and entice skilled professionals to join your teams. It might be the one thing that really stands between filling a hard to fill position in your organization and someone else, a competitor, taking that person, that really great qualified applicant from you because of either compensation or benefits. In a competitive job market, job seekers consider salary and benefits essential factors when evaluating job offers. Therefore, having a well-structured compensation package indicates an organization's commitment to valuing its employees. Compensation strategies reflect an organization's market positioning and its perceived value in the industry. Competitive salaries and benefits can entice an organization's reputation and attractiveness to both potential employees and customers. Providing salaries that are competitive with industry standards helps organizations to position themselves as desirable employers. So, of course, when you're applying for jobs or you have, your recruiting team are looking to hire someone, it is very competitive this year. That's what we're seeing a lot of, is what other things can you offer to get these employees in, to meet their demands and their needs, that works for your organization. Okay. Moreover, adequate compensation provides employees with a sense of financial security, enabling them to meet their basic needs, cover living expenses, and plan for their future. Fair and adequate compensation contributes to the employee's well-being and reduces their financial stress. To me, this one's a biggie. I just always imagine having an employee that's faced with like unexpected medical expenses. But if your organization has a comprehensive health insurance coverage, emergency fund assistance program, they can focus on the recovery without worrying about the financial strain. And this demonstrates a commitment to supporting your employees' overall well-being and their financial security. Compensation is tangible expression of the value an organization places on their employees' skills, expertise, and contributions. When employees feel that they are fairly compensated, they're going to perform at a higher level. And this really helps with when you're looking at how you can recognize your employees. That helps with their overall well-being. They're going to feel happy in their positions. I know for me, I love feeling valued. I think that goes for everyone. There's really nothing better than that feeling, being recognized for a good job, things like that. And that can come into play when you're considering your compensation, bonus programs, incentives, benefits, perks, things like that. And that plays right into talent retention. Offering competitive compensation packages and rewarding employees for their dedication is crucial for retaining top talent. Offering competitive salaries and benefits reduces the risk of losing valuable employees to your competitors, and it helps maintain a flow of your organizational operations. You're not losing that organizational knowledge that you've instilled in your employees. If they're unhappy with their compensation, they're likely looking at other positions, other jobs, other organizations, and you don't want to lose that valuable knowledge. Additionally, compensation can be linked to career development opportunities, such as performance-based bonuses, salary advancements, and training opportunities. Aligning compensation with career growth encourages employees' development and professional development and helps your organization as they're looking at options for growth and how that career ladder looks. This is a great way to do that through career development. Fair and transparent compensation practices contribute to employee engagement and satisfaction as well. We're seeing that a lot right now in trends. Engaged employees are more likely to be satisfied with their work. Competitive compensation is a significant factor in fostering engagement and addressing employees' fundamental needs and motivating them to actively participate in their work roles. If we're happy and we're engaged, we're feeling valued, we have that sense of financial security, we're much more likely to do a better job and be more productive in our roles. So from an HR standpoint, being on the consulting side and not a compensation expert, compensation is a big deal in all facets of your organization, because it plays into all these very important things we're looking at: attracting top talent, market positioning, that feeling of recognition, and engagement and satisfaction with your employees. Okay, Rachel, you can move to the next slide, please. Okay. So what are we seeing in 2024? So that's a big question I've gotten recently, like what happened in 23 and what can we expect in 2024? Well, I would say that there are a couple differences, and the one I'm seeing really is the comprehensive approach to your compensation and coming up with strong strategies around that holistic approach, which includes things like your benefit packages, your perks, the individual position and the goals and skills, and the individual contributions. How can you entice employees through bonuses to stick around and do a great job for you? Um, so we're going to talk about a few of these areas. The total rewards, like I just said, is just all encompassing, talking about that holistic approach. But another one we're seeing is through the pay equity and transparency. This will be a huge focus as we move forward. I know that a lot of people are talking about pay equity and transparency. There's some laws that have come out for certain areas. This doesn't exactly pertain to tribal employers, but I think because your competitors are faced with this challenge, that it's important that you consider pay equity and transparency when you're considering your compensation strategies, and how that will affect you and how you compare with your competitors in that regard. Another big topic that's been going around since the pandemic is the hybrid and remote working options. We saw a lot of tribes adopt these types of strategies through the pandemic. Some have gone back to everyone in office. Other organizations have adopted continued hybrid or remote work options for various positions. There will always be positions that can't be remote. However, for hard to fill positions like grant writers, accountants, IT professionals, that are able to work in a hybrid or remote setting, this really does help with recruiting and retention for those types of roles, and it diversifies your ability to hire in different markets and have employees in different locations and utilizing skilled workers that you may have not found otherwise. So the other one here is customized incentives. Kind of back to that total rewards, employers will see increasingly offered and customized incentives tailored to individual employees' needs and preferences. These incentives may include flexible work schedules, additional vacation days, personalized training and development programs, and bonuses for specific achievements. Technology and automation. Rachel will hit on this a little bit when we talk about some of the compensation tools, but this is going to be a vital thing in 2024 as we look at automation. These tools really do help when it comes to salary benchmarking, performance evaluations, incentive calculations, reducing administrative burdens, and they really just enhance efficiency and accuracy as you're going through and coming up with compensation strategies that work for your organization. And then, of course, inflation and cost of living. This is no surprise as we're in 2024 that we'll have to consider this when we're looking at compensation strategies. Compensation adjustments may be necessary to keep up with the pace of the rising costs of everything. Okay, Rachel. So as many of you are aware, Native American tribes operate within unique frameworks. Um, Compensation decisions need to align with tribal regulations, adding complexity to the implementation of tailored strategies. Tailored compensation strategies must consider the cultural values of Native American tribes and the specific challenges that tribes are going through. Recognizing and respecting these values is crucial for creating packages that resonate with your workforce. Okay, Rachel. So what does that look like? I really think that when we're talking about compensation for tribal organizations, it really is all about that customization. But there's some challenges that you are up against as a tribal employer. One of those being a limited talent pool. In some, areas that are very rural, you're looking at challenges filling certain positions, which can lead to increased competition, especially if you have multiple tribal casinos within, just a few miles of each other. So you're competing for those, um, positions to fill in your casinos. Maybe it's that you're in a rural area and you have a healthcare facility and you're looking to find a medical provider or fill a nursing position. And those can be challenging as well. So we're seeing that with a limited talent pool for tribal organizations. Additionally, um, benefits beyond salary is important. We talked about the total rewards and holistic approach to compensation that plays right into our tribal entities as well. Compensation packages should include benefits that align with the unique needs of the community, such as healthcare services, housing support, and educational opportunities. Housing is a big one that we've seen issues with within our tribal entities we work with. We can't find a medical provider that's willing to drive into our area because they want to live in the city and we're, an hour away. And so, but we don't have any good housing options here. Things like that are pretty common that we're seeing. So looking at different ways you can entice your other benefits is a great way to kind of offset the issues we're seeing around housing or location. Adaption to remote work and hybrid work. You know, I I think this has been a slow to adapt for tribes when it comes to hybrid and remote work, and that's okay. But additional things you can look at with that are just flexible work arrangements. Having flexible schedules available for tribal employees is a great option to kind of, um, another perk, another option to have. But there are challenges that we see with this with tribal employers. Things like, being in a rural area, like where I live. Is hard to find reliable internet. And so having, looking at those things, there are hurdles. You have to weigh the pros and cons. What that looks like for your tribal organization and your location. Okay, and then we have recruitment and retention. Um, there's economic challenges and competition within your industries. Like I said earlier, housing is one specific challenge that I've seen within the communities, especially when you're looking at, again, those medical providers, you're looking at behavioral health counselors, I've seen as a top area that's hard to fill, and tribal organizations are getting um, grant money in those areas. And so they need to spend their grant money. They need to hire behavioral health counselors to fill those roles, which is awesome. Again, looking at tailored compensation strategies that can help you fill those roles, whether that's through bonuses, perks, sign ons, things like that, are very important to your overall strategy when it comes to recruitment and retention practices. And then lack of childcare options. They're calling these childcare deserts now. And it's a unique challenge that tribal employers are being faced with, which is the lack of childcare availability within their areas, or even affordable childcare for that matter. In the United States, 51% of all residents live in a childcare desert. I found that to be extremely eye-opening. The Center for American Progress reported that American Indian communities are disproportionately represented in childcare deserts, with roughly 60% of their combined populations living in areas with low to no childcare options available. And I think about, I'm a tribal member. I think about the area I live in and our tribe here. We do have some childcare options available, but it's not enough for the amount of children in our area. There's long waiting lists. But I think about most of the people that I worked with when I did work at my tribal organization were all women. And so we were all faced with the challenges of, getting to work, but also, I need childcare so that I can get to work. And so that goes back to exploring options available for flexible work arrangements or hybrid work arrangements to help in those situations. As well as, looking at grant funding or options available to help with that childcare desert crisis. Okay, lastly, exploring diversification. Some tribes are exploring economic diversification beyond their traditional sectors like gaming. I see this a lot with healthcare facilities, methadone clinics that are either an arm of the tribe or compacted in some way through the tribal government. These areas also require competitive compensation strategies that we have to adapt to, and they're going to come with new challenges and emerging industries. So, looking at what are the compensation strategies that you can come up with for these types of new projects, new revenue streams that are coming in, and what does that look like? Okay, Rachel. Okay, so having explored the challenges faced by Native American tribes, both with the government, casinos, compensation, it's crucial to emphasize the significance of evaluating your market competitiveness and tailor compensation strategies by incorporating cultural values and unique community needs. Go beyond just including benefits. They make you look at incentives, look at your hurdles, look at the pros and cons that are happening. How can you increase your recruitment and retention? What methodologies can you use when creating your compensation strategies? So having the right tools really makes all the difference. And I'm going to let Rachel jump in and tell you all about some really awesome tools that are available as you're creating your compensation strategies.
Thanks, Taryn. So I'm going to really bounce off of what Taryn just discussed because she kind of gave you the foundation of why compensation is important, though I'm sure a lot of you are dealing with these struggles of recruiting and retention, and you kind of have you're here, so you know why compensation is important. But when it comes to compensation work, technology can play a crucial role in not only streamlining processes, but also enhancing your efficiency. So automated systems can help manage salary structures, performance evaluations, and job analyses. And software solutions also aid in conducting market research for competitive pay analysis, ensuring tribes and all their enterprises and entities stay current with competitive and industry standards. As Taryn talked about, not every technology will fit every tribe's situation, but ideally what you should look for in a solution is data-driven decision-making when it comes to your compensation strategy. So let me just pause and ask if anyone's using any kind of like compensation tool right now. It doesn't have to be these three platforms. It could be salary surveys. It could be market research, it could be consultants, any kind of tool. Yeah, use your chat box. Simply Mirror It. That's cool. I like that, Austin. It's always good to share the tools that you find helpful with the with other tribes and other people in your industry, because if you think it's helpful, they probably will too. I know that there are so many compensation tools in the market today that it can all be a little daunting. So I'll briefly cover 3 of the widely used platforms and their different strengths and weaknesses. This is obviously not all-encompassing, but it should help guide you as you look to add some data-driven decision-making when it comes to your compensation strategy. So the 3 platforms I'm going to discuss are Compease, Comp Analyst, and PayFactors. So for Compease from HR Performance Solution, it's a comprehensive web-based administration program which helps ensure your compensation program is competitive in your market, equitable within your organization, and flexible enough to recognize individual differences in performance. HR Performance Solutions with REDW has developed proprietary tribal government, tribal casino, tribal hospital, and tribal health clinic sector-specific job evaluation tools that help you align compensation to position responsibilities and staff experience, performance, and education. So as you can see, the highlights here, the data informing these are the 14 salary surveys, including REDW's surveys, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Let me get into a little bit more on what Compies does for you. So Compies provides a job evaluation system. This is kind of the core of it. Each job is objectively evaluated based on 10 compensable factors and then assigned a grade within a salary structure. So if anyone's familiar with the Hay method, that's kind of the foundation that Compies has used. It's a point factor system. These 10 factors allow you to evaluate a job based on level of preferred experience, education, working conditions, management level, budget oversight, responsibility, customer service, etc., etc. It really helps take some of the guesswork out of leveling the jobs within your organization. This is especially useful, I've found, for tribes because you have some unique hybrid jobs as well as just unique roles that aren't anywhere else in the market. I'm talking about peacemakers, cultural program managers, language specialists, jobs that are vital to a tribe's operations, but aren't often found within the market. You can't go out and look at, what is Sprint paying for a cultural specialist? It just doesn't exist. So the ability to break down these jobs on 10 compensable factors is very nice. In addition, there's salary ranges and grades, verifying that your compensation program remains competitive with salary data gathered from like the 14 surveys. So it's all HR reported. It's not public data. It's HR reported data. There's also merit increase planning, which provides assistance with planning and controlling compensation budgets and increases. If you want to calculate what a COLA would be, you can do it in this merit increase planning. There's compensation management, on-demand reporting capabilities that are extensive. This includes compa ratio reports, projected salaries, current salaries for individuals. Utilizing this objective salary system instills employee trust and satisfaction. It helps reduce pay-related conflicts, and it makes it easier for you as an administrator to discuss compensation with your employees. Also, the salaries are updated every year and include state minimum wage increase as well as the salary survey increases. So it updates every year with the market. And one of the features that I just learned about actually within the last couple of weeks is there's a minimum wage override, which and compression adjustment. So basically, I know a lot of tribes have their own minimum wages that compete with the cities or the states and are typically higher than the city or states that you're operating in. And so this allows you to override the minimum wage and then adjust the compression that can happen in those lower pay bands with a higher minimum wage than what the state of Washington pays, for example. And lastly, there is an extensive library of comprehensive job descriptions, and that includes benchmarks and pro forma job titles that are available for you to use as a reference tool as you manage your compensation. Next, I'm going to talk about Comp Analyst. This is from Salary.com. It's a software as a service solution that offers data sets and features to optimize compensation plans and decisions. It helps leverage data and in-depth insights on salaries and employee payroll, as well as it helps administrators make informed payment decisions, analyze pay practices, and manage end-to-end compensation process requirements. This is all HR pay reported data. I know the Salary.com is employee reported, but their Comp Analyst platform is all HR reported. And that includes survey catalogs, minimum wage and market data, and it's all aggregated within the platform. So some of their key features, The market data sets, obviously you can access reliable HR reported compensation data sets, includes survey catalogs, like I just mentioned. There's the survey management, which is a nice tool. It is extra, but if you purchase a lot of compensation surveys, you can have a centralized compensation data source library for survey management and analysis, and you can benchmark your positions against all the surveys that you've purchased. There's also you can conduct a detailed analysis of internal pay equity using some of the insights that are provided there. You can create, edit, and structure salaries within Comp Analyst. You can offer total compensation reward statements, which are nice when you're meeting with employees. There's also customizable dashboards, recruiting tools, which help with like labor forecasting, competitive compensation. And then they also have ongoing support, which is really nice. And so you can reach out to your consultant and ask for like strategic insights or just even administrative help. So all of those things are really nice. We use Comp Analyst here internally at RADW, so as well as Compies, obviously. So I can recommend that it's a nice system to have. The last platform I'm going to talk about is PayScale, PayFactors. They recently merged. You'll often hear it referred to as one or the other, but it's the same thing. And it's a management tool that provides a unique matching algorithm, offering inclusions and resources to meet the unique needs of every business. Resources for unique roles are also available. It has 3 types of data sources, which I'll get into in a little bit. It does have employee reported data as well as HR reported data. So, you can separate them out and not use the employee reported data, but it is something to keep in mind, and that's not always reliable. Employees tend to either inflate or deflate their salaries when reporting it. So PayScale also has an advanced search. You can filter search results based on job title, company, degree, certification, skill, industry, school. Get any of those detailed information through a salary research, which I think is actually a really nice feature. You can calculate cost of living in different cities. You can find the right pay for a role using Career Path Planner and negotiate better pay using articles from career and finance experts. You can generate compensation reports through their market match algorithm. You can have data collection, which explores how certain factors, such as moving to a different place, promotion, and learning can affect the compensation within your organization. The data is standardized and correlated with external sources. And lastly, you can keep track of salary records to see if employee compensation matches the market standards. All of these tools are great for markets, for building your comp salaries. But of course, there's pros and cons to every platform. I've personally used each of these platforms, and I can tell you each one has strengths and weaknesses. And you can see here a little bit about, so the data sources I've discussed. Is there live support provided? Like, can you jump on and talk to a consultant? Michelle's used 2 of the 3. Do you have any preference, Michelle, just out of curiosity? I know my team has like pretty divided on PayFactors and Pay and Comp Analyst, so they both prefer each one for various reasons. Survey management, that's for those compensation surveys you might have purchased. You can upload them, yes or no. Performance management, that's tying your compensation to performance, which is a really helpful tool and one of my favorite features of Compies. And then, other additional unique features, like let's talk about how Compies is the only one that has a tribal focused and tribal specific platform. Yeah, Michelle said it depends on the company and the usage. I agree entirely. It depends on what you want to get out of it. So a more cost-effective option when you're beginning your comp journey, or you're kind of looking to just support some compensation strategy, there are multiple compensation surveys out there. I mean, you can find them for healthcare, police, government, education. They're there are a lot of comp surveys that will pertain to your organization, and there are a few tribal specific ones that I also would like to mention. So of course, NAHARA has recently announced their first tribal government compensation survey, which covers the state of California. So if you're in California or in competition with California employers, it might be a very useful survey for you to purchase. And it collects general participant profile demographics, current and projected salary budget data, pay differentials, turnover rates, other miscellaneous pay practices. It has salary data for 340 positions broken down by multiple data cuts, such as geographic region, employee size, and operating budget. And it also collects some benefit information. So it could be a very useful tool to have in your repertoire. Additionally, RADW has collected compensation data from tribal governments and tribal gaming organizations. And every year we compile it into a comprehensive annual survey report that includes data from all positions nationwide. These are like a nice low-cost tool to determine where your organization falls in the market. So if you want to just start from step one, where are we in the market? Compensation surveys are a great tool for you to do that with. As I spoke to before, the nice thing about the compensation surveys that are tribal specific is that they'll have detail on some of those positions, like your language specialists, that you wouldn't find necessarily in other in other compensation surveys that aren't tribal, I should say. So as a compensation professional, I like I mentioned, I believe that surveys are a wonderful place to begin your journey. For a more in-depth analysis, any of the platforms I've mentioned can be extremely beneficial. And additionally, collaborating with a compensation specialist, performing a thorough comp and class study, or even employing a blend of these approaches can be advantageous for you. Importantly, the key is to identify the best approach that aligns with your time constraints, your administrative constraints, and your budgetary considerations. So that's really all I had. I know it was a very 1,000-mile view of comp tools that are available to you. I'm free, obviously, to answer any questions. Karen's asking if the comp conference in New York will be talking about these topics also. I believe that's correct, Karen, maybe even in a little more detail. But also, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me or Taryn at any time. I'm sure Janet can help you as well. And I'll pause and see if anyone else has some questions.
Yeah, hi, it's Janet here. Karen, to answer your question, yes, thank you, Taryn and Rachel. At our summit that we're going to be hosting in May in New York, we are going to be talking about compensation, also a really deep dive on benefits, because both of them, of course, work hand in hand together. So it's going to be 2 days of just comp and benefits. Good stuff.
Perfect. Yes, a lot of tribes are really looking at compensation this year because, as Taryn was talking about, the market is just kind of insane right now. And with the new pay transparency laws coming out in states across the nation, and as you compete in those states, it's always nice to know if you're in the market or not.
So Taryn and Rachel, I have a question. It's Janet here.
Yeah.
So, I per se am not a compensation, I've had years of experience in HR, but compensation is a beast of its own, right? So, what do you recommend to be educated in compensation? A lot of organizations, they have a small HR department, so they really need to take on compensation. What do you recommend? Like, where do we begin? Like, how do I start? Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. What's your recommendation?
That's a great question because it's daunting how, and especially because it's part of HR, but also really math and less people-y. And, a lot of people get into HR to not do math. I mean, that's originally I got into HR to not do math. Um, but now that I'm knee deep in comp, maybe I'll turn it over to Taryn and say, Taryn, where would you start? Because I'm nose deep in it all day.
I think my experience, and I didn't do comp when I worked for a tribal government, but I would say like it's a good place as far as like training yourself on it. There's, like the conference in May or different online classes, but to really get started in it is with one of these tools. If your organization, you're there, you're in the compensation realm, and you need to get started, I think either a survey or looking at one of these tools to get you started is a really great way to just jump in. I have personally used the salary.com tool in the past, and not as a compensation expert, but just to gather data for recruiting. And so that's also helpful in that regard. But really, just you just got to dive in. Um, I would start with a survey if you're unsure. That's where I would start.
Hmm.
I have another question. So we're talking about, recruitment, and what about retention?
Mhm. Oh,
So you
yeah,
mentioned,
absolutely.
yeah, go ahead,
They go
Taryn.
hand in hand. Yeah. So retention wise, I think you focus on the perks. I mean, you already have this employee working for you. How can you get them to stay? When you're looking at that compensation, like where are you in the market with their position? Are they being underpaid? One way to determine that is either through the survey or doing a comprehensive compensation study of your organization. But with tribal organizations like benchmarking, where do they fall within other tribes? What are other tribes paying your cultural specialists or your grants writer or your healthcare providers in these rural areas? And so that data can really help when you're determining like where they fall in the market.
And those total reward statements that I had mentioned are super useful, especially for tribes, because sometimes most of the tribes I work with have amazing benefit packages.
Mhm.
And as Janet was saying, that's like part and parcel with compensation. So I know even some people that have taken less base pay because the benefits have been so much better. So really advertising those to your employees, both current and potential employees, is a really great way to keep them around and to get them to come work for you, because benefits are really one of the biggest drivers in employees.
I think that's great. Back in ancient history, when I was in HR, we really didn't share salaries um, on the website, and really times have changed on the progression of benefits and looking at your total compensation package, right? Where people would look at their base pay. Well, you're paying me $15 an hour and I can get 17 down the street, but it's really understanding what your total compensation is and having your applicants really understand what is the PTO, what is your 401k, what is your benefits, is it an 80/20, is it 70/30, do they offer pet insurance is a big one. It's really having your applicants understand the total compensation versus the base, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You may go down the road and get $2 more an hour, but what are you giving up? What is the value of the benefits that you're passing over?
Mhm.
In your experience working with tribes, are you seeing any changes or any shift on employment in regards to having a compensation analysis and working with pay scales? Because, after COVID, everyone was really scrambling to find people because people didn't want to go back to work. People were offering these really um, big bonuses, right? Have you seen any changes?
Yeah, so actually, I feel like the hiring bonuses have gone down a little bit more, and it's focused and pivoted a lot more to retention bonuses, um, like different types of variable pay, so shift differentials and weekend pay, if you have employees that are working on the weekends, that kind of thing. And the retention bonuses are really a big one. So you've got those people there. Now, how do you keep them? A lot of tribes are starting to tie performance to compensation as well, which has proven to be a pretty effective method to compensate employees, but can be administratively a little daunting. So I think tribes are getting more and more creative in this post-pandemic world to keep their employees and to get new ones. And I think it's a good thing too. And that's why it's good to go to these conferences and to talk to your peers and see what they're doing, because you might get some really great ideas. And they're your competitors, so you might be able to steal some really great ideas. It doesn't hurt. It's a strong market, and it's good to have a strong market.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Definitely. Well, thank you. With our attendees, is there anything in the chat box that you would like to share with Taryn and Rachel and with the group on any successes that your organization has accomplished in compensation or any challenges that your organization is having? I think we have a shy group. And I really encourage you to reach out to Rachel and to Taryn if you have any questions or any challenges that you have encountered. I wanted to ask Taryn and Rachel, would you be able to share your presentation if our attendees were to reach out to you?
Yes, yeah. We'll give you a PDF of
Absolutely.
and that way you have all the links and everything. So,
Fantastic. And, like Rachel and Terrence said, for those who are working in a tribal organization, not only in gaming, but, they have different businesses. Um, if you're not a Nahara member, join Nahara. You can network with members and also work with Rachel and Taryn as they are partners with Nahara and are a very good resource. So we utilize our ADW and we thank you very much. So once again, if you would like to see the session, it will be on a Nahara YouTube channel. And also, too, wanted to let you know that we are at Nahara going to be offering a compensation and benefits summit, which will be held in New York this coming May. And also, too, if you can come and join us at Choctaw at our 28th annual conference this year, and say hi to Rachel and Taryn, and they'll be there. Um,
Yes.
very resourceful, and we're really excited. And all you need to do is just go to Nahara, nnahra.org, and look at our events and all of our certifications. Once again, I want to thank you, Rachel and Taryn. It was very informative. Compensation, there's something coming up every single day, right? So
yes.
truly thank you for your
Absolutely.
time. And thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a fabulous day.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of the week.